Hey, y'all, and welcome to another Southern Fried, the podcast that explores the South through its people. Look, today we've got a monumental, I said that monumental episode. This is Southern Fried's 10th episode, okay? We've been at this for over 2 months. It's a big deal. Haven't missed a week yet, so whether this is your first listen or your 10th, thank you for joining us and hopping on this journey. Throughout our various guests we've had so far, look, I think one theme has really resonated by the end of every episode, and that's community. We've had guests that have lived all over the country, like Matt Willoughby and Jordy Searcy, and we've had some lifers, such as Lucas Steele and Leighton Hart, but all of them, community is like an anchor point for what the South means to them. And for me, community is really found in family and friends, and there's no place for me where community pushes past everything else like Starkville, Mississippi. Obviously, if you've listened to this podcast one episode, you know I went to Mississippi State, and I'm a proud alum of that school, but the city too itself, just Starkville, is just a special place. And so I think it's fitting for the 10th episode that we get to have a conversation with somebody who's as synonymous with Starkville as Mississippi State itself. From putting in tireless work at one point in college for incoming students on campus to always being found at Duty Noble Field in the spring. There's
Absolutely.
no bigger Hardy fan and few bigger Eric Church fans. I'm proud to call this person a friend. Please welcome to Southern Fried, Allie Davis. Allie, how are we doing?
Charlie, I'm doing great. I mean, this is an honor I just don't deserve, but I'm happy to be here. I'm just
We're happy
spend
to
a little
have
time
you.
with Charlie Steele. Yeah.
I know we haven't really, I feel like actually the last time I've really, not even talked at length, but really seen you was maybe post Arizona State game.
Yeah. I mean, one of the greatest days in my life. I'll say that. I mean, at that point in time when I saw you, I probably thought we were going to win the SEC championship. I'm not going to lie. I was like, this is our year.
We were the best team in the country for
At
a
that.
day.
Yeah, we were, but I'm not going to complain. We're 5-5. That's better than 2-10. So no complaints here.
I think I
Just have-
found, as a State fan, it's a lot of like, man, we were really good for a night.
When you were at the top
The
of the clouds.
2020 LSU
Yeah.
game, I was like, that's it. We're the best team ever.
Absolutely.
And so it's just a lot of that. It's a lot of that. But post, if any university big heads are listening to this, I didn't do this, but post Arizona State game, ran onto the field and saw Allie
May or may
on the
not have
field. And it
happened.
was, what a great moment.
Great. 10 out of 10. I was happy to see y'all. I mean, I'm an older student on the field now, and I was just happy to see somebody that was as old as I am.
What's embarrassing is me and Abby aren't students. We just wanted to go on the field.
Yeah,
At least you can still say that you're a student.
I was a student. I guess I still count, but yeah, I was happy to see someone above the age of 22 out there just as excited as I was.
We're running on the field, and it's Abby and I are like walking around, and her sister is still an undergrad, so we call Sophie, and we're like, hey, like, come find us. And like all of her 21-year-old friends are like now standing around, and we're talking with them, and I'm like, God, like, should we really be out here right now? Like, are we too old for this?
Absolutely. No, never.
But yeah,
Never.
one of the greatest days of my life.
I would argue that too. I really thought about it. And in that moment, I said, this may be it for me. Like, does it go down after this?
Probably.
Probably.
Have you?
But
Hardy was on campus that day, right? No, the
Yeah,
Hardy
that's right.
video released that day.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my heart
I knew
stopped
it'd come
for a
back to
second.
him. I knew it always comes
Yeah,
back to him.
It always comes back to Hardy. Yeah, the video, my favorite, which they didn't play it till later in the season, but the video where like in maybe overtime or,
Yeah.
fourth quarter, the start your ring your cowbells, Davis Wade, ring your cowbells. God bless America, God bless your troops, and Davis Wade, ring those cowbells. And that's my favorite video maybe of all time.
And it's Hardy saying it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're about to, in our heads, we're like, we're about to win. We haven't yet when
No,
that
but
video's been played.
A lot of
Man, it
games
feels
we're about
good.
to win. Yeah.
So many. And we're so close, and it's a great feeling, but it does hurt when we don't. But
It's hurt a lot.
hey, it's worth the high of the Hardy video playing.
That's true. Just if you don't know, if you've never met Allie, she loves Hardy, the musician. She loves him so much. Today, in preparation for this, I have just listened to Hardy. So I listened. My favorite, is it He Went to Jared? I think that's the full title.
It is.
That's my favorite, only because it digs at Ole Miss, and that's just beautiful.
Absolutely. You scream that. I saw it I saw him and Morgan singing it. And when they say he went to Ole Miss, you're just like, yeah, he did. You
Yeah.
know?
Get him out of
Yeah,
here.
he did. What a loser. So, yeah, no, that's a great line.
It's a great line.
Great line.
All
Morgan
right.
Wallen's digging at him too.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen. A second ago, Allie called him Morgan as if they have been friends for a couple years, but
Yeah,
Morgan Wallen, the
you
artist,
know
if you
me,
don't know who she
Morgan. Me and Morgan. If
that
you haven't heard of him.
yeah. All right, Allie, we've given people a little backstory now already. We went to school together. We did some orgs together at state, but I want the people to know Allie Davis, okay? That's why you're on the podcast today. So why don't we start and you tell us where you from?
Okay, so I am from Ovett, Mississippi, and I know everyone listening to this podcast will know where that is, but I'm just going to
Yeah.
give a little bit more
Uh-huh.
information. Real small town outside of Laurel. It's not too far from Laurel. You know, I always tell people I'm from Laurel because it gives me a chance to, maybe someone will know. Ovett, I think I was 20 years old and we got our first Dollar General. Up until that point, we had one store, and it's the greatest store, I think. Ovett Little General is the name it goes by.
Wow.
And I can remember growing up, the town's so small, there's no red lights. We have this one store. And the great thing about that is I remember being a kid and, obviously me and my dad would go fishing and we'd stop at the
not
Ovett
much
Little
else to do in
General.
Ovett.
Yeah,
Not much
no,
else to
what
do.
else you gonna do? So you stop at the Ovett Little General and you get lunch, you get your lunch before you go. You get your bait there. If you needed, if it was necessary for you to send something out by mail, it was, in fact, the post office too, so you could do that. The dials still rotated on the gas station. It's,
Wow.
not electronic. Yeah, it probably still is. I haven't been in a little while.
Yeah, I'm sure they haven't updated that.
Grocery shopping. I'm pretty sure we could rent movies. I'm pretty sure back when I was real
Wow.
little, VHS tape for rent.
There's a lot there.
So it was really a one-stop. You get your bait, your food, you send out your mail, just in case that's an errand. Get your gas, everything.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody actually recently. This is a flex for the South, I think.
Okay.
Mississippi, and I'm sure Alabama and Louisiana are, I think I've eaten at a few gas stations in those places too, but there's some gas stations that I would argue have the best food that you can find. And a friend of mine in vet school, actually, I think he's from North Carolina, he was like, there's no way, there's no gas station that I'd eat food. And he was like, but I came here and every gas station's just got the best food. And I'm like, yes. Ovett Little General, some of the best food I've ever eaten. So gas stations in the South, I think they know
I
what
do
they're
have
doing.
to say, as I grew up, and I think I'm a little embarrassed by this, but I grew up in the city. I did, and that's where I can't put that away. But Allie Davis, she'd be like, God, there's this Shell station right across from campus. Okay, when you go to Mississippi, actually, I almost want to say this: there's chicken in every gas station. People don't know. You may not know this, people, but if you want fried chicken, there's chicken in a gas station. I would always turn my nose at it. Allie, she'd pull up to our meetings with a 3-piece from the Shell gas
and that
station.
Little roll, get
I'll
that
tell
roll
you
and
what,
tater lot.
And it always looked good.
And it is good. And if you never got it while you're here, Charlie, well, I did you a disservice as a friend.
I know. I'm missing out.
Because I know I didn't offer any of mine up.
No.
Sorry. That's prize.
That's good it is. That's how good it is.
Yeah, I'm not offering my gas station food up to just anybody. So, but yeah, I think that's just a little something light on Southern culture is, hey, gas station food. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they Ovett Little General.
Typically. Yeah, that's a little plug for the hometown.
But has the Dollar General really put them out of business? That would scare me.
No.
Yeah, of course.
No, I think, it is crazy when you go home, the amount of side-by-sides and four-wheelers that are just pulled up to the Dollar General. I think it's a little fancy for some people's taste down there.
Sure.
They like their little Ovett General. The same people have probably worked there forever. Mom and pop stores. I think it's the community of the gas station. You're not just going to swap up for a Dollar General.
No.
If you need something,
That's corporate.
Ovett Little General can't carry, then go to the Dollar General, but you can't mail your mail out from Dollar General. You can at Ovett Little General. So,
and when I worked at For a semester in college, I worked in Eupora, Mississippi, and
Yeah.
they would always, if they were going into town, they were going to Starkville. They'd be like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know, guys,
Fancy.
this isn't town. Is Laurel to Ovett, is that town?
Yeah, I mean, in Hattiesburg, but, since Laurel got the TV show and everything, it's, real
Yeah,
fancy
they
in those
think they're all
parts.
this.
Yeah, it has been cool to see, a town that I obviously, because it is the town, Ovett,
Mm-hmm.
if you need to go to
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, we don't have that, so Laurel kinda is the town, and to see that kind of TV show be based around a town that's just kind of been a part of my whole life, and then see kinda how it's revamped the town and done a lot for the community is really cool, honestly. But it still feels, even though there's a lot going on, it still is home, and it's still kinda that
Yeah.
small town feel.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, you see somebody you know, so it's cool. But yeah, I always tell people I'm from Laurel, but it's a lie. You heard it here first. I'm not from Laurel. It's a lie, and I'm from Ovett, and that's just how
Would
it is.
you say that you're proud to be from Ovett, even though you don't claim it half the time?
Yeah, this kind of goes like similar for me. Even being proud of being from Mississippi, I feel like that's such a
Yeah.
thing that people try to, like they're almost embarrassed of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's I'm proud to be from Mississippi. I'm a very big any of my friends know me, especially the vet school where a lot of my classmates aren't from Mississippi. I'm like the Mississippi voice. I'm gonna advocate. I'm gonna be like, this is the best place ever. And I'll
Yeah.
give them my 30 minute spiel why. I think you can just it's home. And I think we sometimes have a mindset of being from a place or being from, somewhere can hold you back or like, and I just think it's awesome that I'm from Ovett and I'm in vet school and, I've made it, and done well. And I mean, I have a brother that lives in Australia now. So Ovett, he's from Ovett too.
Yeah.
He would talk about that one too. But, you can go as far as the world will take you, even, where you're from has no
Yeah.
impact on that. I'm proud to be from there and proud to be from Mississippi. I love
Well,
it.
now you're in vet school at the greatest university in the world, which we all
Yeah,
know. What
absolutely.
led you to want to pursue that?
I think there should be a study on the amount of children that want to be veterinarians growing up because I
Uh-huh.
think it's like astronomically high.
Yeah.
I feel like every kid I talk to, which is not a ton being in Starkville and being at the vet school, it's a lot more animals than, you know, 21 year
Earlier,
olds.
before we started the recording, Allie called, and I guess this is the correct terminology, but it's just funny to me. She called the animals patients, which I guess is right, but it's just almost as if they're human people. I think is
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. We got people in stall 7, to take care of. But yeah, I was that kid, like a lot, I feel like, that wanted to be a veterinarian because you just think of it as like animals.
Yeah.
That kind of just it never went away. And then I was a senior in high school and started shadowing a vet in Laurel.
Of
And I remember
course.
going home, absolutely.
They didn't have vets at the Little General.
I'm sure they probably have somebody that claims to be.
Yeah, yeah,
They would
yeah, yeah.
probably come to your house and do a house call, but, I don't know how legit it would be. But we, started shadowing that vet, and on the first day, I remember going home and texting or talking to my parents and saying, "This is what I wanna do for the rest of my life," after one
Yeah.
day of just kind of experiencing it, and, so from that day, kind of from childhood, but especially after spending, like, just a short amount of time working and seeing the industry,
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so then that has become kind of everything to me. That school is very competitive and it's very hard to get into. And I mean, it's hard once you get there, it doesn't kind
Yeah.
of stop. And so it's difficult, but I see it constantly, like where God has shown me this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even the days where I'm like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
It takes maybe the next day or so where a reminder or some interaction happens where I like, yeah, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I love it. There's no other career that I would want to pursue other than the one that I'm lucky enough to pursue right now.
Did you have a lot of pets growing up? Like, was that something you were always around? And also, I, because I know you, Allie, I do want you to talk at least about one pet that I know you had. But if you don't in this spiel, I'll just push you to do it.
I'm gonna give you two pet stories, and one of them I doubt you know.
Okay.
this might have blossomed my vet career. So along with fishing with my dad, we obviously had to go hunting
Yeah.
too. And so I
Ovett.
remember being a vet, what else we're going to do? So I was really little. I mean, I would say I was probably 6 years old. My dad took me dove hunting. And yeah, we had some dogs, but they weren't hunting dogs. So I was, in fact, the Labrador retriever of the dove hunt. Dad and his friends would shoot them. I'd go chase them. Well, one of them, when I went to get it, it was alive. So I put it in my pocket and I was like, I'm going to help this one live. So I spent the rest of the day hiding this dove in my pocket, not telling everybody.
Was it trying to escape? You sitting there like shoving it down?
No, it was real calm. I was just petting it all day. Just had my hand in my pocket petting it all day. And on the ride home, I said, Dad, I got to tell you something. And he was like, what? And I pulled this dove out of my pocket that is fully alive.
Uh-huh.
And she became our pet for like 6 months. I wouldn't let him do anything with her. I named her Mary, and
Fitting.
this dove proceeded to live after Jesus' mom, obviously.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, and I kept a pet dove, and I would take her for walks outside, and until she passed away.
Wait.
Yeah, I took her
What
for
does that
walks.
even mean? What is that?
The reason we were able to keep her as a pet is because when she was shot, it was just her wing, like it had just hurt.
Yeah.
So she couldn't fly, but it wasn't a bad wound or anything, like and she just couldn't fly anymore. And so yeah, I'd take her outside, and she'd just kind of hop around for a while again, and that might have been the start of my veterinary
That's gotta be it. Yeah.
career. And then a few years later, I was 17 in high school. One of my best friends in high school, her boyfriend got her a present for Christmas. And it just happened to be a micro mini potbelly pig. And her dad threw a fit and said she couldn't keep it. So, of course, she comes up to me in class one day and said, like, for $100, I'll sell you this pig.
Steal.
I'll sell you a kennel, her food. I'll sell you everything that you need to have her as a pet right now. And I said, absolutely. And I gave her $100 and went and picked the pig up after school and brought it home. And my parents were, they were so excited that I had brought this thing home. And yeah, her name's Lily.
Yep.
It's crazy when you get a pig and it's micro mini, and it's been a few years now, and she weighs probably 300 pounds, that's a crazy micro size.
Insane. Insane.
I would hate to see what a full size one.
How big was she when you got her? If you had to guess, how many pounds?
Like, if you think of like a little corgi size dog, real small, short, I mean, I toted her everywhere.
Yeah.
And then she just kept growing and growing, which, fun fact, micro mini pigs aren't a thing.
Don't exist.
They don't exist. You basically don't feed them enough, and it kind of stunts their growth a little bit. So it's kind of messed up. And I remember my mom did some research on it. She was like, we're not going to let this baby starve.
She said just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so now she's as big as my mom's house, and she stays there. And it's so funny because my mom will send me pictures, like she lets the pig come inside. She has like a child's mattress that the pig comes in and lays on. Yeah, she doesn't I think she has some abandonment issues. She kind of bites at me when I go back home because I think I abandoned her to go to college.
Yeah, you used to show us some videos where she was a tyrant.
Yeah, the only person she likes is my mom. I have some great videos I'll have to show you at some point. A vet has to come trim her hooves, do house calls, and they have to.
But you found that vet from the general store.
Yes, her office is right out of it, and so yeah, they have to tie her down and hold her, and she screams, and pigs are kind of menaces. So
sure,
yeah, pet pig. I've had a lot of dogs and other things, but the dove really was, kind of crazy to call, having a pet dove. And then the pig, that's a fact that people love,
Yeah, I love it. I love to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to tell people I had a friend, Starfield, that had a pet pig.
Yeah. And honestly, if she would have stayed small, she was potty trained. I mean, she was litter box trained.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's insane.
Yeah, she would sit like a dog for an Applejack. She'd do anything. I could have taught that pig to fly. For an Applejack, she'd have done it.
Hey, Southern Fried listeners, just wanted to jump on real quick and say a quick thank you for clicking on this episode or listening to it. Your support goes so far. Everybody who had said something nice about this podcast, who has reposted something, who has liked something, who has given it a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube now too. Just all those things are so helpful, and so many people have just been incredible. So thank you guys for being listeners of this podcast, for tuning in every week, and for joining us on the Southern Fried journey. I hope y'all are enjoying this interview with Allie. It was so fun getting to hear about Ovett, where she's from. And then later in the podcast, we kind of get into Neshoba County Fair, which is this uniquely Southern Mississippi tradition. And I'm really glad we got to talk about it, because Allie knows so much about it, and she gave some great insight, and I got an invitation to it next summer, so can't wait for that. But I just hope you guys are enjoying this episode. It was so fun, and y'all support people like Allie that are coming on mean the world to me. Y'all don't understand. Doing this for 10 weeks in a row may not seem that long, but it's been really fun, and it's meant a lot to me to pour into this and to have people say stuff back. And so just, I don't know how many times I can say it, but thank you guys so much for supporting Southern Fried. Hey, as I always say, and I mean this, if there's somebody that y'all think should be on the show, let me know. I have gotten guests. I've reached out to people through other people saying, I think you should have so-and-so. So please let me know. I would love to continue to bring on the people that the listeners of Southern Fried think should be on this show. Hey, and also, final thing before we get back to the episode, I don't know if y'all know this, holiday season's coming up on us, all right? And so there's no better way to kick off the holiday season than with a little live music. You can do that coming up this November, this month, by listening to the Alabama Civic Chorale's 78th presentation of Handel's Messiah. They're going to perform that Sunday, November 23rd at 3 p.m. in Hoover, Alabama at River Chase United Methodist Church. For more information, visit www.alabamacivicchorale.com. Now let's get back to the show. All right, I think this could be a good segue into what I want to talk a little bit about with you. Would you ever bring Lily? Is her name?
Lily, absolutely.
Would you ever bring Lily to the fair?
I would need a trailer to haul her.
Yeah.
But, I think she would thrive there. And we could set up right outside the cabin, we could set up a little petting zoo just for Lily. And we'd have to have a She Bites sign, but.
World's largest micro pig.
Yeah, and charge $5 for a picture.
Yeah. You're welcome.
But this is a business venture for Neshoba County Fair that I might have to look into.
All right, if y'all don't know, I've never been, and I'm still waiting on my invitation in the mail from Allie's family, but one of the maybe most uniquely Southern things I know about is the Neshoba County Fair in Mississippi. It is. I want Allie to really talk about it, because if you know Allie, it's I don't want to say it's her whole personality, because it's not. She's a very complex person, but this fair, it's centered. Her life is so centered around what happens in Neshoba County.
It is.
Can you, if I just give you an open-ended, can you tell us about Neshoba County Fair? Can we start from there? Okay, great.
Absolutely. So I agree, Charlie. You can say it's my whole personality. I think as a person, there are three things that people probably think of when they hear Allie Davis.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope. I think it would be Mississippi State University.
Check.
I hope Eric Church.
Check.
And Neshoba County Fair. So,
okay, yeah, you're right. For me personally, you're nailing all of those.
Okay, good. That's in my dreams. That's what I hope for.
Yeah,
that I bring to people's minds. But yeah, so Neshoba County Fair, I think it is the greatest thing on this planet.
Okay.
I would put it against Disney World, and that's just me. Obviously. There would be a lot of disagreeers, obviously. So, Neshoba County Fair, so it's in Philadelphia, Mississippi, home of Hardy, so
which,
that's a big thing.
Again, one of those things I had to get used to when I was at State. I met my buddy Micah Morgan. You're familiar with Micah. And the first time I met him, I said, "Oh, I'm from Birmingham. Nice to meet you. Where are you from?" Philadelphia. Oh, whoa, dude, that's so cool. How'd you find your way down here?
Crazy.
And he's like, it's not that far. I was like, no, you traveled. Yeah, that's Philadelphia, crazy. Mississippi. So that was a shocker to me.
Yeah. So Philadelphia, Mississippi, Neshoba County Fair, I started going, I don't remember when I started going, let me be honest. I was probably I was young. I would say I was probably 5 or 6 the first year I went,
All right.
if not younger. So my aunt, my dad's sister, her husband's from Philadelphia, and he has a cabin that's been in his family. I think I asked him this year. I think this is like the third generation of, in his family that's had this cabin. And it's really cool. Every year when they change it over to the next person, they sell it for $1. So like his parents
Mm,
sold it to him for $1. Same
mm-hmm.
with their parents. Neshoba County Fair there's these cabins, and feel like when people think cabins, you're picturing like a, Tennessee mountain log
Sure.
cabin, but
Yeah.
there's probably over 1,000 of these cabins that are not very wide, but
Mm-hmm.
they're typically pretty tall.
Mm-hmm.
And they're stacked. There's probably about 3 or 4 feet in between each of them.
Crazy.
And every kind of cabin has a theme, so ours is obviously a Mississippi State cabin.
Beautiful. I'm guessing there's a lot of those down there.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Mississippi State cabins. Sadly, there's also a lot of Ole Miss cabins.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Well,
Yeah, they don't count. We don't visit
yeah.
those. And then there's a lot of like just fun, like a lot of bright colors. So these cabins are just everywhere. And Neshoba County Fair is only 1 week out of the year. So
Yeah.
forever it has been the last week of July, but we had monumental change this year, and now it's
Ooh.
moving to the last week of June from
Ooh.
here on out. I know it really that's
Do we know why
fine.
that is?
I think I heard, rumor has it,
Mm-hmm.
with Mississippi, a lot of this rumor has it, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
schools are transitioning to kind of the year-round
Year
schools,
round. Year round. Okay.
and
Okay.
so, that last week of July, people will have started school back, but the last week of June, they won't be
Yeah,
in
they're
school
off.
yet, so, like,
Okay.
everybody can still enjoy their time at the fair, so we
Yeah, it
changed
won't
it,
be as
which was
hot either.
fine. Also, when the fair ended this year, I said, "I only have to wait 11 months instead of 12." So this
How
is
about
kind of
that?
a little gift.
Yeah.
So it shuts down. It's funny, Philadelphia, the city itself absolutely shuts down. You
Yeah.
can't do anything for the week because everybody is in their cabins at the fair. One of our neighbors, this is one of my favorite stories about the fair. He always tells it every year. So
All
you
right.
need to come this year, and I'll get him to
Well,
tell it to you in person.
I have to be invited again. That hasn't happened.
Look, here on Southern Fried Podcast, Charlie Steele,
I've
you
been
and
fishing
Abby,
for this. I've been
you
fishing
and
for it.
Abby, y'all's bed is made and ready, and cabin
Done.
235 is waiting on you.
Okay, done.
So we'll see you there in June.
All right. All right.
Don't show up in July. I won't be there. Okay. So our neighbor, he told us one year he had taken off the whole week of the fair for forever. And one year his job told him that he had to come in. And he said, "Well, you can either give me the week off or you can fire me. I'm not coming in." And boy, they fired him because he went to the
Oh.
fair. He took his week. And then he loves, he obviously finishes the story with, and in November they called me because they needed me back. So, he got, it's all good. But that's how serious it is. A lot of people, I feel like it's one of those things, if you visit, it's kind of different versus like growing up in it.
Yeah.
There's people, it's crazy. There's a girl that I have grown up with at the cabin. She's a year younger than me. Her name's Claire, and we kind of grew up every year. We would go to this fair together.
Yeah.
And, through the years, we've kind of brought people in with us, and I've made these friendships with her and, these other people that she's brought, and just people at this fair that I was in one of their weddings a year ago. And the only time we
Wow.
see each other is 1
Wow.
week out of the year. And, obviously they've come to visit Starkville, because to be friends with me, you have to.
Absolutely.
But outside of, a trip, maybe outside of the fair once a year, we only have seen each other for a week. Yet they'll be in my wedding one day, and
Yeah.
I have been in their weddings. And I think that just shows how special the friendships are and how special the people there are. And I feel like, I hear stories, of, parents and grandparents of how when they were growing up, everything was left unlocked and, kids ran around and played. And like, I feel like the fair takes you back to that time because
Yeah.
something that's really funny is kids run around with numbers all over their arms. They're tatted up everywhere.
Okay.
And it's their cabin number. So kids,
So if they get lost,
so if they get lost, they get returned to their cabin.
that's great.
And so, like, you just see kids of all ages. Like, some of them, I'm like, you're still in a diaper. Why are you away from your house? but they have, the numbers written on their arms, and it's so safe because, if they get lost or something happens, people just come walking your kids back to your
Yeah.
cabin. And, another thing is like you walk around and if you're hungry, if you smell some good food, because some of the best food I've eaten in my life has been at Neshoba County Fair. You walk up onto the porch, and before you can even say, hey, there's like 7 plates being shoved in your face.
Yeah.
And, like, you're being force-fed. It's like the scene in Grinch where he goes to the
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like
But
you
it's
walking
every
into their
cabin.
cabin. Yeah, and it's fried food and everything that's delicious in this world. And so for the week, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into the fair. One of the big
Yeah.
things is it's a political event. So it started off,
Okay.
as like at a farmer's market political event, but a lot of, different politicians, come and speak every year. So election years are really, really big, but
Dang.
every
So they're
year they
they're
have a
standing
lot
there
of
campaigning, like local
it's a
elections,
lot
state
of
elections, all that.
campaigning, yes. There have even been like Ronald Reagan came to the fair a while back. I wasn't there, so there have even been, national
Yeah.
elections, kind of on the forefront some years.
That's crazy.
And so a lot of political events. So those kind of go on throughout the week of different speeches and things. And then at night, every night there's concerts and obviously with the budget of like a county fair, you're not getting Morgan Wallen there,
Sure.
but Morgan Wallen before he's Morgan Wallen,
Yeah.
may have come there. So like,
Yeah.
George Strait came there years ago. Jason
Wow.
Aldean came there. I saw Luke Bryan when I was like 12, so before he was like Luke Bryan,
Mhm.
it's crazy the artists that maybe 5 or 10 years after they perform there, then they're just household names.
Yeah.
So those kind of happen throughout the week, and there's obviously the fair part of it. You have the rides and everything.
Do you do all those things?
The rides make me projectile vomit, so I can't do those things. I can't do not visit the fair too much. Anything that spins makes me
You
really
don't do the
sick. So
fair at the fair.
I don't do the fair at the fair, but I
Yeah.
do everything else at the
Everything
fair.
else. You go the horse racing?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny, this year was honestly my first time to really get into the, fair, like the racing, horse
Yeah.
racing. I've kind of just always watched it from a distance, but this year, kind of our whole cabin really got into it. And we're lucky enough, we're right on the racetrack. So you can watch the horse races from our cabin, but we also have some friends from other cabins that we back the trucks up and put up, like
Sure. This
tents,
feels right.
and we sit out there and watch them all day, and it's really awesome. I mean, obviously, going through veterinary school, I've always been a small animal person, but now, like, working with horses through school and working with other animals, it's definitely piqued my interest. So, like, I would say that's why this year, like, the horse racing, I got really involved with because now that's something that I've been introduced
Yeah.
to through school. And then, so the horse races go on during the day, and I think one of the craziest parts of the fair happens right when the horse races and
Okay. Was this
the
the videos of the
stage
people running? Yeah. Which
there's
if
a
you're
s the
watching on
stage
YouTube, I'll try and, like, put one of these videos in there.
you have to.
It's
It's
crazy.
very
Allie
important.
will talk about it, but it's crazy.
The stage where the concerts happen are right in the middle of this racetrack,
Yeah.
and so when the horse races finish, there's all these gates around kind of the stage, and people have these, like I'm talking about old-fashioned chairs, now they're, like, vintage and they're, like, $200, but I think
Yeah.
the mass stock of them is probably at Neshoba County Fair.
Yeah.
They're these fold-out chairs, the horse races end, and the security and the announcers are constantly like, "Hey, be patient with us, we'll get ready to go here in a
Uh-huh.
second." When they get the horses off and everybody, kinda safe, this horn goes off and the gates fly open, and it's a chair race. We've traded the horses for people, I guess. And so the concerts, once you pay admission into the fair, you don't pay for the concert, you race for your seat.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's crazy. I did it when I was probably, like, a teenager. I'm not doing it anymore because
No.
we'll break
Did you get
something more
trampled?
violently. No, I didn't get trampled. I would always try and get on the little outskirt side part.
Smart. Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't going for the middle because I would've
No.
died,
You're always
possibly
gonna be smart
death.
about it. Yeah.
cause of death Neshoba County chair race would have been fitting, honestly, but kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's just a week long of spending, like nobody really leaves the whole week, especially if you
Yeah.
have a cabin. Like you stay there, you sleep there, there's showers, like there's the cabins have definitely gotten fancier. And we have a lady
Yeah.
that is in her 80s that comes, and she talks about how they used to have a little, bath, thing that they'd all share the same bath water and have to heat it up. And I'm like,
God.
I just wasn't built for that time. So glad I get
Thank
to enjoy
God.
the air conditioning and my own shower, not the community bath water. And so the cabins have definitely gotten a lot nicer. It's kind of crazy to me. I feel like even people in Mississippi don't know about it. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of a well kept secret of Mississippi. I'm not complaining about that because I think I'd hate to see it change a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I would obviously love more people to fall in love with it like I do, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know about it. And I think if you're not raised in it or know a friend, that goes, and you really don't know about it.
Yeah.
Think it's one of the most incredible experiences of just spending a week. Like you have this one week with these people that are basically family. I mean,
Yeah.
and you form these relationships that, there's friends and people that I've met at the fair that, they come see me in Starkville all the time. We see each other. I see them everywhere. We're going to each other's weddings, and it
Yeah.
was literally just based off this one week that we spend together every year. And so I think it is such a special, and for me, it's genuinely, I will never forget the COVID year when everything got canceled. I just
Mm-hmm.
knew Neshoba County Fair. I was like, there's no way. And I remember I was laying in the bathtub and I got on Instagram and it was canceled and I just sunk in the water and like just
Yeah.
started sobbing.
Oh.
That's how much it means. It's my Christmas. I tell people, like, I tell my family, like, this year when I was making my clinical schedule for, this year, I was
Yeah.
like, guys, I love y'all. If I can get Christmas off or the fair off, I'm
Fair.
choosing the fair. I'm choosing it. And they know that. They accept me. But yeah, it's such an incredible thing. And I think, you just get it is like truly the good
Mm-hmm.
of Mississippi. You see so much community and good
Yeah.
food and, entertainment and concerts and country music. And you see there's a lot of, there's a wild time to be had at the fair, which I've
Yeah.
never
You couldn't speak
taken.
to.
I can't speak on the crazier side of the fair, obviously, but
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it really is arguably one of my favorite parts of living.
Yeah.
Is that
Well, that's
crazy?
something what I know about like the fair, what I talked about at the very beginning of this episode. It's like I feel like it is this almost this picture of Southern community right there in
Yeah,
Philadelphia for a week. And
yeah.
I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, and, it blossomed. I would argue it blossomed my love for Hardy. I was,
Which runs deep.
younger, deep. I remember, there's a pageant. There's also they put on Miss Neshoba County. I remember years ago, I was out there and this guy walks out and he was the fair entertainment for the pageant show. And he says, "Hi, my name's Michael Hardy. And I wrote this song with a buddy of mine and he released it. This song's Up Down by Morgan Wallen." And I vividly remember that moment
Uh-huh.
because I was like, I was like, who is this guy? Like, now I'm usually maybe one of his biggest fans.
Yeah,
He's
maybe.
from there and the Mannings have a cabin there. You can,
But
if you're
yeah,
lucky, like
I love to
Kate
see
Manning.
the. Hey, don't ever forget, all you haters out there. Arch said at the Neshoba County Fair on video that he'd go to Mississippi State. He said it. So I mean,
You know, he said it.
fair fair brings you things.
He had a point.
Yeah, well, he made a mistake.
So, it really is great. And I think I love when people like, those things in life that you really love and when other people
Yeah,
get to experience them, then it just makes you the happiest person in the world.
yeah.
There's nothing I love more than bringing a friend to Neshoba County Fair. And like, this year I brought two of my friends from vet school. One's from New York State
Ooh,
and one's from South Carolina, like Charleston area.
yeah.
And I don't know whether they were amazed, stunned, scared. Like, I
All
think
of
there were
it.
a lot of emotions. Yeah, they went through a roller coaster of emotions, I think, and, a 24-hour period. But they both, when they came back, they were like, "We see why you love it so much. Like,
Yeah,
we see why." this means so much to you. And so I think it's, some people hate it, some people love it. I just I would be nothing. I always tell my family, I make the joke, I'm like, "If something happens to me, cremate me and throw me at Neshoba County Fair, and
All right. Well,
I'll be
I
happy."
I think that begs the question then, and this is gonna be hard. I think maybe you have the answer, but if you had to give one up, would you give up Starkville or the Neshoba County Fair?
Oh, Charlie,
You
that
can't
one
step
just made my
foot in
heart
either
sing.
one. You can't step foot either one for the rest of your life. Which one are you giving up?
Charlie,
Yeah, I know.
just, I know in my head, my heart immediately said something,
Okay. But think
but
about
I
this.
was, like, debating it. My
No
heart's
more.
the first thing that my heart said was I'd give up Starkville.
Yeah, but that means no more sit in the outfield at a baseball game.
And, I think I would I would never give them up. But if I had to, maybe I would have to go to the fair just 'cause a week versus, 1
Wow.
week
Oh, I'm a little
versus,
shocked.
it's really hard. That would be a tough one for me, and I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll send you a message when I really pray about it
Yeah,
because that
you
one might need
pray about
prayer.
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because, Duty Noble also, a hot dog
Mm.
I was eating a hot dog the other day at the school. I brought my hot dog cooker that my friends got me for my birthday, and one of my professors looked at me and said,
This is the most Allie
"What's your
thing I've ever
favorite,
heard.
like, what's your favorite hot dog?" Like, "What's your favorite hot dog?"
Yeah.
And I said, "About 72, a nice sunset, and I feel the duty noodles." I said, "That's my favorite flavor of hot dog." And she
Yeah.
said, "You know what?"
You have a hot dog cooker you bring with you now?
Yeah, at the school, we do these things called Food Fridays at the vet school, and they're really great things. And for my birthday, some of my best friends in vet school got me a Oscar Mayer. I mean, it
Yeah.
rotates. It has a
Yeah.
bun heater, and I bring it for Food Friday. And let me tell you, it's a hit. People love it. I mean, our
That's
professors, clinicians were in there getting them a hot dog. They thought it was the greatest thing ever. So,
I mean, that
yeah,
tracks with you, I think.
yeah. And she
Yeah.
said, well,
72.
just about 72, nice sunset. Bulldogs are winning. Maybe a little mustard,
Yeah,
and
I got
that's
alright,
my favorite flavor of hot dog.
hey, look, I'm glad you brought up mustard. I wanna start wrapping up, but I wanna tell the people one thing I know about Allie. And, Allie, the beauty of podcasting is if you hate this story, I'll cut it out. I will.
I'm
It has
excited for
this
it.
it has this snack that she told us about a couple times in college where she said she gets see, I don't know how she says it. I would say Vienna,
Tiny.
Vienna sausages. And what would you do with them, Allie?
There's nothing quite like, this is another dad fishing trip where, you're on a
Disgusting.
pond and your dad's like, "This is what you have. You have a can of Viennes and crackers and
Yep.
somehow a thing of mustard, because yeah." And I would take them and mash them up in the can and put mustard on them and put them on a cracker,
And
a
spread like a
saltine,
and spread it on
like a
there.
butter. Yeah, it was like a Viennese mustard butter. That's kinda gross, I won't lie.
I
And
know.
I mean, that was lunch.
Yeah.
In that moment in time, you couldn't have fed me anything better.
Huh. I get it. I get it. I
That was my choice.
no, you just brought up mustard and you were talking about hot dogs, so I had to sneak that in
Yeah.
there.
Can't say I won't have it just to reminisce at some point this
Yeah.
week since we brought it up.
Well, we all have our childhood snacks, right? Mine was just pepperoni and
Right.
mozzarella, but yours you can do do whatever you want.
Viennese butter on a cracker.
Ew. Vienna is crazy too.
You know, welcome to South Mississippi. Southern Fried,
Jones County. Jones County.
Jones County.
JC, represent. Allie, can't thank you enough for hopping on. It really means the world that you would say yes. I
Of
want to ask you
course.
one more question before I let you go. This is a question I've thrown out to a lot of my guests, and I'm just interested to hear what people have to say. But if you were the host of Southern Fried, if for some reason I was gone and you took this seat, and you had to get a guest for the Southern Fried podcast, who is somebody you think would make a good appearance on the show?
Hmm. That's a great question. I mean,
Yeah, come on.
and why is my answer like, why is my first reaction like you could probably say it? Why am I
I
thinking like Hardy?
I was Hardy. I thought that's what you were gonna say. Which
It's
heck,
an
if he
illness.
says yes, heck yeah, I want him on the
It's
show.
a sickness. Yeah, I mean that, let's get
Jared
let's get
Church would be probably your next one.
how about Dak Prescott?
Yes. As actually flex, I have the same birthday as Dak Prescott, so I think
Cigar basically. He'll say yes.
yeah, we're twins, me and Dak.
He's gonna say yes. Athletically, y'all are very similar, so
People have always compared me to him athletically, and
yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've always kind of felt that I'm a little quicker, but he's got the arm strength. Yeah.
I thought the same thing, so I'm glad you recognized your own talents.
Yeah. Well, and the problem with me, and a lot of people don't know this, but the problem with me was Joe Moorhead was the coach at State when I was entering in, and I just didn't
Yeah.
feel like the time was right for me anymore.
Yeah, it just wasn't you weren't gonna be able to shine in the way that
Exactly.
you needed to, and
Yeah. Had Dan still been there,
agree.
I probably would have played.
Yeah. He would have said, "You remind me of Dak." I'm glad we're back to that era.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, I'm glad as a friend I can just make you feel secure and know that you're right. You are
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, Allie.
Yeah.
On that note, I think this is a great episode of Southern Fried. I hope that people listening to this appreciate, just how great you are, but they need to know that Allie Davis is also just a great storyteller, and so I wanted to have her on so we would learn a little bit about South Mississippi and a little bit about Jones County. So, Allie, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Love you.
Love you. And that's going to do it for episode 10 of the Southern Fried podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hey, I do want to acknowledge, when I talked to Allie, somehow, even though I grew up outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and Hoover, sometimes when I talk to Allie, yeah, it kind of sounds like maybe I too am from Ovett. So I want to acknowledge that as the podcast is ending. She just brings it out of me a little bit, a little country twang that's buried deep inside there somewhere. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave it a rating if you haven't already. Save this episode. That's really helpful. And again, as always, set it in the commercial break. Let us know who should be on the next episode of Southern Fried. Keep joining me on this journey. We're 10 episodes in. I'm hoping for 10 more and then 20 more and however many more. I can't wait to see where this podcast goes. Thank y'all, and y'all come on back.